Madness taking the night boat to Cairo, which brings us nicely to our first interview on tonight's programme, because next month Trinity Park on the edge of Ipswich is set to host a series of open-air concerts, including one featuring the music of Madness. The weekend events have been pulled together by Graham Thurston and Richard Garrett, and as Graham told me, it's been in the offing since the early days of lockdown.
When Richard first came to us with the idea, I mean, we've been sitting talking about this since April, and at the time, obviously, we weren't allowed to do this under the guidance that was. The guidance has now changed. We've since carried out our risk assessment, and we've looked at doing the method that we're going to use. We're going to obviously have track and trace when you buy your tickets through the websites. We're having a socially distanced, will be monitored by the staff and adjusted accordingly. The tables will be set out roughly about 4 metres apart. So because we are blessed at the showground, as you and probably all your listeners will realise, that we have ample space. We also have ample tables. So you will be able to get up and have a little bit of a dance around your table as well, hopefully. There will be sanitising stations where hand sanitizer will be available. The facilities, toilets will be monitored and cleaned regular intervals. Actually, traffic through those facilities will be monitored as well, so not too busy, so not too many people in there at one time. If there is queues, we have a soft start. The actual park will open about 12 o'clock. So if you want to turn up with your bike, with your dog, have a little wander around the park itself, please feel free to do so. And that's designed so hopefully people won't have to queue to get in, because if there's a start time, people will be queuing. If queues do form, again, they will be monitored, so people will be kept apart. The food offering will actually be served over 2.5 hours, more if needed. So what we will do there, we will actually, again, if lots of people are wanting to get their food at the same time, we will actually call people up to go and get their food. They will be given a voucher as they arrive, so that will all help in that respect. So they're the main points of our risk assessment. The site by this point will actually have a charter mark, which is what we're working towards before that, where we have to satisfy certain points from the government's website. So I hope that covers all that, so people have confidence to come and enjoy themselves.
My word, that sounds like a lot of hard work.
It is indeed, but it's something that we need to instill confidence, so people will come out and enjoy themselves, because we understand there is a lot of trepidation still in with what's going on with the world.
We'll talk a bit more about the sort of infrastructure very shortly, but let's bring Richard in. Richard, you've put this event together, haven't you? I mean, you've left no stone unturned, it seemed, in your efforts to cover a lot of genres.
Yeah, it was very important, Steve, just to make sure that we catered for everybody, obviously. You know, the last 4 or 5 months, nobody's been out anywhere doing anything, obviously, for COVID reasons. So it was something that Graham and I were very aware of, to give everybody the chance to get out and at least see something which might titillate their fancy, as it were. You know, we've got anything from crooning in the park, young Andrew Spall doing his superb singing, through to rock bands, as well as people like Return of the Los Palmas Six, Madness Tribute Band, which are our headline act of the summer on August the 29th. And there's something in between, rock bands, soul bands, there's crooning, there's musical theatre. We've got a young lady coming down from Nottinghamshire to do that one for us. She's had #1 hits in the iTunes charts. So, very professional people coming along, as well as some local acts as well, Stephen. We thought it was very, very important to get local people involved with this as well. And, you'll know Terry Fisk, Terry's doing the country one. Terry, a very well-known local artiste. So, yes, every genre, hopefully covered, that most people will be able to come along and enjoy some of the music we're doing for them.
And Richard, there's social distancing in place for the punters, but there must also be that in place for the musicians as well.
Yes, there's one of the reasons for us, to be honest with you, we only went for a 5-piece band as the max, because otherwise we'd be in for a massive stage, as you can imagine. And by the time the bands get the drum kits on, get the back line on, the microphones here, etc., etc., you know as well as I, Steve, you can get it quite cosy sometimes. Obviously, these days we can't do that, so we've allowed for roughly 2 to 3 metres between each performer on the stage. So if they need to sort of jump up around, dance around during their performance, then they can obviously do that. But yeah, we've had to make 1 or 2 adjustments with equipment as well because of that. But it still means that we can go ahead and be mindful. Obviously, all the entertainers have been reminded of socially distant rules and regs for the COVID. I'm sure they'll all adhere to it because, as you can probably imagine again, Steve, they've absolutely sort of gagging to get out and do a gig because some of them have not done a gig since February, March time. Yeah, all very keen to adhere to the rules. And I'm certainly very keen to make sure we adhere to them and enforce them as well, as boring as that might sound to 1 or 2 of the entertainers.
Graham, you must be so desperate to get events back on at Trinity Park now. This has been a bit of a godsend for you, hasn't it?
Absolutely. As said, when Richard first came to us with the idea, we sat down, we chatted through it. We planned, even though we knew we couldn't go ahead, but it was just great to get something back on the park again. It's a fantastic facility, and for it to sit there not being used, we have been maintaining it. I've been there myself for the last 4 months, cutting grass, answering phones and doing all sorts. So it would just be great to see it in use again.
So an events manager doesn't just sit behind a desk at booking acts and making sure things are happening?
Absolutely not. My office has been attractive for the last 3 months, I'll be honest, Stephen. We've got 350 acres of grass. And if I hadn't kept on top of it, we'd have 350 acres of hay.
Have you ever had a meeting in a tractor going around to 350 acres of cutting grass?
No, I haven't, no, but it sounds interesting.
Not conducive to Zoom, I have to say, Steve.
But all this good weather we've enjoyed for much of the last few months has come in very handy, and you'll be hoping it continues for the whole of August.
Absolutely. Well, the weather forecast for next weekend, I mean, I've looked up till Friday. I know these things change, but it's 24 degrees, possibly more on Friday, going into the weekend. So it's just a fabulous, fabulous chance to get out, enjoy some fresh air, value for money. The ticket prices are £15. With that, you get some food involved as well. So it's just a great opportunity to come out and enjoy some fantastic music, some fantastic company, and some fantastic food.
You've mentioned dogs and bikes being most welcome. I take it people can bring their cars on site, can they?
Absolutely, yeah. We'll be parking people up in what we call VP's car park. If anyone's come to the Suffolk show, the car park just off the roundabout, we will be using Ipswich entrance, which is a turnstile entrance. You can fit your bikes and dogs through there, and so it will be a safe environment. The vehicles will be kept well away from the picnic area, and it's free parking.
And Richard, how do you see the running order as far as the stage is concerned? What sort of time will you kick off and indeed end?
Well, as Graham has said there, we're going to open the gates at 12 o'clock in order to let people in nice, slowly and securely and safely, Steve. So we'll have the first set of the act's performance on at 2 p.m, and that's going to run for 45 minutes until 2:45, therefore. We're then going to give people another 45 minutes to get some food, get a drink, etc., which you'll know is longer than normal at these events. But we feel as though we've obviously got to give it the time for people to get this, because they're going to have to queue safely for bars and that sort of stuff, for toilets possibly. And then the next act, or the next set, will be on at 3:30 until 4:15. We'll then go through until 6 o'clock, giving people an hour and 3/4 there to finish the food, finish their drinks nice, safely, securely, and we'll close the gates at 6 o'clock, which once again is all daylight. People are not going to be going home stumbling over anything, and that's another thing we wanted to do. We wanted to finish these at 6. So we didn't give people the opportunity to get, what should we call it, Graham?
Yeah, good pun.
Be careful how you say this.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
But yeah, people will
get carried away, shall we say.
Yeah. Well, lovely afternoon in Prospect then for both Saturday and Sundays throughout August. So, as I said earlier, you've got a great bill lined up here. The Skittles will be appearing, the Soul Corporation, and you mentioned the return of the Los Palmas Six doing madness in the park. I take it that it's a bit of a work in progress, this, in many ways. I know you've done a lot of groundwork for it, both of you, but until the first one is underway and kicks off, well, you'll have a better idea after that, really, won't you, how it's all going to pan out?
Absolutely. I mean, it's a fluid situation, Stephen. You know, we will react to certain situations. We're both proactive and reactive people, and you know, we've been within this industry now for a good few years. I won't mention it because I'll make ourselves feel rather rotten about ourselves. But we've both got experience within the industry to be able to move with, like I say, move with the flow and go with what's best. I mean, some of the finish times, if it's a lovely afternoon, you know, we're not going to say, yep, 6 o'clock, off you go. If people are still enjoying maybe another walk around the park to walk off the picnics, then, you know, so be it. It's just designed to be an absolute joy to behold and get back to doing some things that we like doing.
Yeah, it's no pressure really, Steve. You know, as Graham says, if it's 6:30 because people are still eating, they still want to finish a drink, they still want to have another ride around the park. The whole thing is just about coming out, getting some fresh air, and getting back out again, really, and listen to some music. I mean, it's very, as Graham said, it's a very dynamic situation, and I'm sure next weekend we're going to learn some things on Saturday that we'll put in situ for the Sunday. You know, this COVID is changing. The rules and regs change almost on a daily basis. So, you know, we've got some great staff in place, some great people working with us, and they'll be very dynamic in what they can do from Saturday onto the Sunday. So, yeah, always changing, and we'll move with it.
I was going to say, I know both of you have got a lot of experience in all this sort of thing, but even you couldn't have imagined all this, could you really? You thought you'd probably seen and done everything down the decades.
Oh, it's a once in a generation sort of situation, and you know, we'll look back in 4 or 5 years when we've got over this and think, wow, we were there. And you know, and it is one of those things that will come up in history, and it is something that I certainly haven't witnessed or experienced anything like this.
No, it's the same with us. It's I mean, I've always cleaned microphones and mic stands, as you'd expect, but the way I've cleaned them recently, I've never done it before. You know, the disinfectant, some of the materials we've used to disinfect equipment, it's been phenomenal. And I just hope the performers don't mind everything stinking of Dettol, Stephen. But you know, that's one of the things we've had to do. Obviously, you know, the disinfectant is it's in our lungs at the moment. But we're happy to do it. We're just happy, you know, to get out and put something on for people. You know, and don't get me wrong, I'm happy to play with my toys again, Stephen. You know, some of my toys are quite techy, and I love playing with them. And Graham is very much happy to get the bits and bobs out up at the showground because, you know, they need to get out and get used just like anybody else's tools.
Good. Thank you very much indeed, both of you, for joining us. One last thing, how can people find out more and indeed get hold of tickets?
Well, we have a website, as you'd expect, Stephen. So on the website, which is eventsolutions.events, there's all the information on there, and then you click tickets at the top. It obviously takes you to the store where you can purchase tickets for each and every act on separate days. You can also buy a child ticket, and under 8s go free as well, Stephen. And obviously we can't supply food for free, so they just select a child ticket, which is only £5 if they want food. If they don't want food, then it's free for an under 8. But that's where they go to get some tickets. And I think Graham wants to say something.
Speaking of food, Stephen, obviously the offer, we have tailored that to each and individual act. So the first one, leaves it lovely for a lovely picnic in the park. Some of the other acts, Scarred for Life, we're going to do a hog roast for, and that's being provided by Ian down at Prestige Bars and Catering, Ian and Dave down there. So another trusted partner from the Ipswich area, and the food will be prepared fresh on site, locally sourced, and like I say, it should be a wonderful afternoon.
I wish you both well with what sounds like a wonderful month. Enjoy, won't you?
Stephen, fabulous talking to you, and thank you very much.
As always, it was a pleasure. Thanks, bud.